Skate 2 takes the big core thing from the original Skate, and that's the trick system. They put all the tricks on the right stick and figure out different ways to do flip tricks and stuff using the right stick. They take that and use that as pretty much the sole basis for Skate 2, and they build from there a really interesting open challenge system. They bring back a lot of the multiplayer stuff from the first game and add a lot to even that aspect of it. The end result is a game that feels a lot like the original Skate in some spots, but is really expanded very nicely in others. The enhancements to the trick system are pretty much purely done as modifiers to the existing tricks. You remember from the first Skate probably that you hit like down up on the right stick for ollies. If you cock it off to the side, you can do a kick flip or a heel flip, and different ways that you move that right stick will do different flip tricks. If you're modifying it with a grab button, then it starts to modify and kind of tweak that grab around. It's this modifier concept that's been expanded upon here, because now you can use the kick buttons to do 1-foot variations of tricks. And the foot buttons also come into play with stuff like foot plants that let you kind of land and do a little kick and you kind of tack on a little extra move at the end of your combos, and that's really helpful. You can also do hand plants this time around. The game uses the R1 button, or the right bumper on the Xbox 360, to kind of grab the world. And you do this basically, you skate up to the top of a ledge and hit it, and you can go up into a hand plant and kind of tweak it around with the right stick, or do even 1-foot or no-foot variations on that. So the game is really about options when it comes to the tricks, and you have a lot more this time around without feeling like they've totally gone and rebuilt it. You're kind of just learning interesting additions to this trick system, as opposed to feeling like you have to start from scratch or anything like that. That grab button also comes into play because now you can get off your board. The primary reason for getting off your board is so you can walk up flights of steps. It just makes it a little bit easier to get around the city. That actually really comes in handy. You can also grab a hold of ramps and rails and stuff and drag them around as well. You can't really add objects to the world, so it's more like, well, I found this ramp, and I know that I have a goal to do a kick trick over a car or something like that. So how about I grab this ramp, drag it in the middle of the street, and then when a car comes up, I'll do the trick that I need to do. So it's more useful for stuff like that, as opposed to like building your own level or building your own area or something like that. The other thing is the off-the-board stuff. The controls are really bad. The turning's really slow. You never really run all that fast, so it never really feels all that useful, which is too bad, because when you're off your board, you can actually lay the board down and run up and jump on it and keep going. But since you can't really, move very quickly, it's a little lame. So I hadn't played the first Skate in a pretty long time when Skate 2 came along. I played through Skate It, which doesn't really count that much because it is pretty different. So when Skate 2 came out, I wasn't good at it anymore. So for basically like the first 6 hours or something like that with the game, I was totally sucking. Just missing rails, just horrible. But after that, everything really did kind of click in, and combined with some additional patience with actually remembering, like, right, I have to kind of be calm to get this stuff done. I was able to really just kind of get dialed in and burn through like a lot of the challenges in the game in like 1 or 2 sittings. So it feels like it might actually be a little bit shorter than the original Skate, but maybe that's just because more of the challenges are more completable this time around than the first time.
Couldn't have done it any better.
Of course, in addition to the single player, there's also a big multiplayer component to Skate 2. A lot of the stuff from the first game does return. You can play Skate with other people, which is where you kind of have to duplicate tricks, which is where the frustration of so many tricks being on the right stick really gets a big spotlight shown right on it. And I don't like playing Skate very much at all, but you can play spot battles. You can do new like Hall of Meat challenges where you're basically just trying to like thrash yourself in the worst way possible, and that gets scored. There's jam sessions where you're just kind of like all going for the highest score, and those get modified by like, oh, this one's grinds only, this one's air tricks only, and stuff like that. But there's also a free skate component to Skate 2, and that's where most of the big enhancements to the online have been made. Free skating is, on the surface, exactly what it sounds like. You can just kind of pick one of the areas of New San Vanalona and go skate around. There can be up to 6 players playing online, and you can just kind of do whatever, hang out, chat while you're doing it. But the game also has freestyle challenges, and these are basically built like the Burnout Paradise challenge system, where you had, every player must land a barrel roll while they're driving or something like that. They've taken this basic concept and applied it to skateboarding. So it's kind of part competition because you want to be the fastest to do it, but part cooperation because everyone has to make it. So you can't just kind of play these with anybody and hope for the best. It's it's really, you're gonna be better off if you're like assembling a crew of people that wanna get this stuff done and then doing it. The good news is that you don't have to do it with 6 people. You could probably do it with like 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that if you really wanted to. The free skate stuff is really cool. It's a really strong addition, really smart addition to the game. A lot of the other online features from the original Skate return. You can upload your own footage. You kind of cut stuff together and edit camera angles and stuff like that to kind of show off some of the weird stuff that happens while you're playing the game, or just, you know, if you have just this amazing line worked out. It can send it to the game's official website. It'll also be available in-game. People can rate it and watch it and download it, you know, all this different stuff. It also kind of works the other way. If you go to the website, they have a graphics creator there, and you just kind of draw whatever custom graphics you want. You can apply that to boards and hats and t-shirts and stuff like that. You can't import JPEGs or PNGs or anything like that, but you can use these tools to kind of build your own stuff, and people have built some pretty amazing stuff with the tools. The other really cool online component is called Create a Spot, and you can do this from the single player. You just kind of skate around to a spot that you see that you think that you'd like to turn into a created spot. You know, the game will pause, you can have a big scoring box appear, and you just kind of drag that over the objects, and then you set your own score on that, do your best, and then upload it. From there, people can browse the spots, you can find your friends' spots or the highest rated spots, and download them into the game, activate them, and then try and, you know, beat the highest score. They've got leaderboards built in. You can watch a ghost run of the leaders, you know, of the best performance on that spot. It's really cool. They've got it built up really well. There's already, you know, even a weekend, there's already some really cool spots and some relatively fierce competition there. So it's a really neat addition that, again, just, you know, lets people figure out what all these crazy spots in the city are and figure out how to do really wild stuff there. It's really neat.
Yo, you gotta watch out.
So Skate 2 does have those moments of frustration, sort of like the first game did, where you just want to take the controller and rip it apart and then throw the individual halves through different windows and really just destroy as much as you possibly can. But when it does all come together, when you really get dialed in and you're really kind of focused on the game and again, calm, it's amazing. Like, Skate 2 comes together in a really impressive way. So I think people that like the first game will be pretty much blown away by the sequel. And if you skipped out on the first game and you're looking for a good skateboarding game, Skate 2 will definitely satisfy that bill as well.